Hi, welcome to Consonant Analysis. The analysis I have for you today is the one that I promised on my Facebook page, which is the picture, or the painting, should I say, entitled Parsing Bill, which was produced by a woman called Petrina Ryan-Kleid, who is an artist from Australia, I believe. And anyway, basically when she's been questioned about this painting, which is, if you don't know, you'll find out because I've left a link to the article that I'm sort of like using as a basis in the description below. And it basically it's gone viral now, but it's a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue woman's dress and wearing red high heels, draped over a chair in the Oval Office. And as I've said, it's called Parsing. The artist has labelled it Parsing Bill, which is obviously that's for a specific reason. It's not for no reason. We give things names for specific reasons. So what my intention is to actually delve into that name and, by the magic or the brilliance of consonant analysis, actually pull out possible meanings or themes from that particular phrase. So I'll begin here with the context. So the context is, a painting of Bill Clinton reclining in a chair in the Oval Office while wearing red high heels and a royal blue dress was reportedly found hanging in the mansion of Jeffrey Epstein, the now disgraced pedophile. The news of the painting has gone viral on the internet, and the people are asking many questions about its nature and reason for existence. In this analysis, I take a look at the name of the painting to find clues as to its creator's intentions. So for interpretation, what I put about this overall, as benignly as I could, is that the artist is displeased with the real-life actions of the subject of the painting. Now, that's not what she said. When she's been questioned about it, she brushed it off, saying that it was something that she did as a third-year art student. And, it got sold, but she didn't know who it got sold to. And it seems when you actually do the analysis, there's a bit more going on than that. In fact, in another analysis, the next analysis that I'm going to do on her actual statement with regards to the painting, that clearly comes out. But anyway, I won't say any more about that. We'll just go on to the highlights now. So in the highlights, what I've done is I've taken if you notice in the code section here, where I've codified the consonants, I've actually used red and green. So there's red and green highlights essentially. So I've got basically two highlights where I'm looking at the two coloured sections relating to the two words bill and parsing, or parsing bill. I've taken the consonants out. I've read them forwards and backwards, and I've basically done my interpretation of what the meanings for those words are, based on the markers that I've pulled, the consonant strings that I've pulled out. If you're new to my channel, my methodology is to pull three consonants out at a time, interlaced, and then check them against a reference source, which has actually got the meanings for those particular consonant sounds. And I go through that like that throughout the whole of the consonant string. And I either do that backwards or forwards, either reverse the consonants or leave them as they are, as they were actually spoken. And the reason why I do that is because the reverse meaning often usually gives like the intention behind the speaker. And also, if I've only got like a few characters, as in Parsing Bill is not a lot of characters, a lot of consonants, I sort of like maximise the yield by doing forwards and backwards. So anyway, let's go on to the highlights. So the word parsing is highlighted in red. Highlighted in red is interpreted as follows, and you'll see that, as I've shown you, you'll see that in the report. Red, the word parsing is highlighted in red, the consonants from it. So forward analysis. So my interpretation is this painting was entered into a contest to deliberately expose or accentuate the subject of the painting, something that would rivet the one gazing at it. It is a drawing of someone appointed to a public office. It was drawn to indicate something and to leave an impression of that on the onlooker. The painting symbolises something. I painted the piece to support myself and now the piece has been traced back to me. It was intended to be a provocative piece that reproaches the subject of the painting for causing the death of someone, and death is figurative. It affected somebody so much that it's, because it's got out, basically, it's caused the death of that person, not figuratively. I am content with the piece. I hope that it pricks someone's conscience. So yeah, it was definitely for a purpose, and that comes out in the markers. I've summarised the markers with themes. In other words, the actual consonants, they refer to actual definitions or blocks of text from the source reference. So I've pulled those out, and they're at the back of the report, a link to which is in the description below, and that I'm holding at the moment. And so the what I've done is I've basically taken all of those components from those definitions and summarised them together, and that's what you've got here. You've got an interpretation based on those, and it really is only an interpretation. And the whole point about my analyses are that I produce them, one, to sort of verify my unified theory. A link to that you'll find in the description below, and also this tool is only really useful for further further research. So like I said, a reporter or somebody might look at it and it will give them ideas about other places to look which they wouldn't thought about before because of the surface meaning of what they were reading. So onto the interpretation. Onto how the interpretation matches the word. So the word is parsing, and I've put here, the word parsing means to break a sentence down into its components to determine its syntactical structure. In other words, the reason why the words are put where they are. A bit like consonant analysis, actually. In this instance, it could be interpreted that Bill Clinton is being broken down to reveal who he really is. As clothing comes close to the skin, placing the dress on him could be interpreted as symbolising intimacy with a woman's dress, with a woman, or the woman's dress. The red shoes that are a different colour to the dress highlight the presence of the dress due to the two items of clothing being mismatched. They sort of jar with each other, so it's something unusual. It makes you definitely look at that particular aspect of the painting. This could be interpreted to indicate that both items of clothing are important in terms of the thesis of the painting. From an historical perspective, red shoes are indicative of the aristocracy, who historically, by social convention, were the only people allowed to wear shoes of this colour. And you can look into that. The shoes could be interpreted to indicate that the subject of the painting is someone from the aristocracy or somebody high up. Given that the subject is a man wearing women's clothing, which he normally never wears, as far as I'm aware, it could be interpreted that this aristocrat has been in close contact with a woman, and that because the choice of shoes and dress are a colour mismatch, i.e. wrong, that the relationship with the woman was also wrong. So the artist is basically being satirical. Yeah, they're saying, it's as though they're saying that what you've done is wrong, because I'm going to make you wrong and see how you like it. Placed with the references in the markers to spurting liquid, this could all be interpreted to fit the circumstances of the incident with Monica Lewinsky, because we do know about that. And people have sort of mentioned it looks similar to the dress that Monica Lewinsky kept, to showcase as evidence. Given the marker components to expose, to plan, to find visible expression, all of these components do appear in the markers, and to hold something against someone and to overreach someone, it could be interpreted that these components fit the raison d'etre, in other words, the reason for being for the piece, now hanging in Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. So that was the forward analysis for the word parsing. So now for the reverse analysis, where I've gone over the consonants backwards. So I've interpreted those markers as meaning The subject has poor pallor and is wearing a dress and is sitting on a wooden chair. The purpose of the painting is deliberately unclear. The devil who wears Prada must be thrown to the ground for committing outrages against people and fornicating while in high public office. He must be snapped. The matter must be leaked to the press because he slinks back into his hole. So my interpretation of how the reverse of parsing fits in with the interpretation, or how the interpretation fits in with the reverse of that the consonants for that word, is the marker to be playing the dandy, which you'll find in the markers, i.e. to pay undue attention to one's outward appearance, could be interpreted to indicate that if a person has no shame, then whether they dress in men's clothing or women's clothing, it makes little difference. Here the word parsing could be interpreted to indicate that once the parts of the sentence, that is Bill, have been broken down, it's all the same, a one-track pony, he'll never change. It could be interpreted that the artist as a woman has a low opinion of the subject's actions and is drawing attention to this fact in a bid to expose him. She is parsing him on our behalf in the same way that he passed someone himself. So that's parsing, forward and backward analysis. And now moving on to Bill, which is highlighted in green in the consonant code at the front of the report, on the front page of the report. So I've put the word Bill is highlighted in green and is interpreted as, so moving into the forward analysis, the subject needs to be called to account. I hope this goes on his record as achieving that end. So how the interpretation relates to the words, remember the word is Bill. So the interpretation I've just given, how does it relate to the word bill? I've put a bill is more normally a written instrument that is put forward to propose something, often for public consumption. In this case, a parsing of an individual has been proposed and made public. Like, acts of parliament, before they become acts, they're actually bills, And like, for instance, when we send something, we send a bill of lading. Yeah. So it's something which it basically indicates something else. It has to be verified. Like a bill of lading, you wouldn't necessarily. You may find somebody that inspects it to find out whether it actually matches up with what it's supposed to represent, i.e. some cargo or goods. Moving on to the reverse analysis for the word bill, I put the painting is a satirical, as an interpretation, I put the painting is a satirical piece in which the subject is posed wearing a dress, which he does not normally wear. So how the interpretation matches the word bill. A bill is a proposal, i.e. something which does not necessarily have approval as it is only a proposition. In the painting, an imaginary scene has been painted in which the President of the United States of America is portrayed wearing a woman's dress and high heels, which is merely a proposal. It does not exist in reality until made so by the onlooker. So what the artist is saying, in fact, you sort of like get that impression when in the next analysis I go to, where she's questioned about it. You almost get that point that she's actually very blasé about it. She's passing it off. It's not real. It's not reality. She doesn't actually say that, but that's the import that comes across from her making the statement. She's very sort of like bland about it. Just said, "Oh, it's a contest," but why did you specifically choose that subject? And it's very unusual and very strange, and it's gone viral on the internet. So there seems to be more to it than meets the eye, But you're very sort of like bland about it. So yeah, she is making a proposal, and she's hoping that in actually making it public to the people, it will actually come to life. It will actually mean something, and as it's all highly symbolic, that it will be interpreted in an appropriate manner. And if you look on the internet, the stories that are coming in, or the stories that are out there, or the news articles that are about this painting, it's just crazy, And there was one article I was reading today where people were saying, there was one person who was getting tired of all the interpretations. So I don't know what that person would think of, yet another one from me. But mine's like based in something, so I'm using a particular method. It's not like I'm just plucking ideas out of the air. I've got something, substantial on which to base my my thoughts and my analyses. Okay, so moving on to comments, the comments section. After the comments, we'll get onto themes. So for comments, I've put Bill, the word Bill. In the reverse analysis, I mentioned that this word is merely about a proposal, i.e. something which only gains validity by popular consent. In this light, it could be said that the artist is making this proposal, i.e. the painting, in the hope that it will gain popular acceptance by being in the spotlight. Given the very unique nature of the piece, for what other purpose could she have possibly painted it? So it's not just a painting, dear. There's more to it than that, and we all know that. And that's how it is. 2, the words, the theme of sea. In the forward analysis for parsing, there are references to landing, anchoring, and docking off the coast. Could these be references to the place where the artist assumed the buyer lived, and what was going to be the final resting place of her painting? And these are tentative. I mean, because they're sort of like could be allegorical, especially if you look in the markers at the back of the report. They could be allegorical, figurative, but they're still there. So I've highlighted that. Point 3 for comments, themes. I've highlighted several words which were intended to show that several people implicated in this analysis seem to be intricately entwined. There's certain components of the markers at the back of the report which actually seem to fit more than one person. So what I've done is I've highlighted those in the same colour, and you will see how people are linked by one keyword. There's also the word harbouring. That seems to be the whole point about the whole of the analysis. I've highlighted in the themes in black and white, so black background and white text. Like the artist is harbouring something. Things have been sort of like docked, and the like things have landed. The whole connotation of harbouring, it runs throughout the whole of this report. So I've highlighted that in black. And 4 for comments. Overall, I've put, it seems to me that the artist as a woman professional was disgusted by Clinton, who held a high public office yet behaved in such a despicable manner. As the personification of America, which he is, he is America, isn't he? The president of the United States. He sullied and trashed a whole nation, and they all just rolled back and took it. As the personification of America, he sullied and trashed a whole nation. And the artist's way of expressing her feelings, because after all, paintings must necessarily spring from the soul of the artist. We produce what we know, is to produce this painting. She claims that it's just an innocuous painting, but as they say, revenge is a dish best served cold. And the interesting thing, she's actually an Australian national. So who knows why? Perhaps in the next analysis that I do on her actual speech, we'll find out some more about that. So moving on to themes. This is basically where I take the long, lengthy markers that I pulled out, and I just basically take the components out, rearrange them and put them into some sort of like categories to make it easy for you to digest. And then if you want to go into the markers afterwards, you've been prepped, you've already got some idea or a roadmap about what you're looking at or what to look for. So I've tended to split the themes into the people that are involved, and with people holding several different positions and different hats. So to begin with, we've got Clinton the politician. High office, play the dandy, political programme, take advantage of a situation, take possession of someone by assuming his shape. That's Clinton the politician. Clinton the person, aspire, bother, cheat, desire, dupe, enter into someone's body of a demon, fornication, get drawn into something, hide, crawl into its lair, an animal, hobnob, intimate, involved in, jut out, meddle, outrage, satisfied, spurt liquid. Because it obviously semen was actually on Lewinsky's dress, wasn't it? Clinton in the painting, drape, equivocal, face, intimate, pallor, surround, wear a dress, wood chair. And just to point out, all of these words actually do appear in the markers at the end of the report. The woman, i.e. I'm saying Lewinsky, associate closely, attend, close contact, desire, fornication, get drawn into something, intimate terms, make mistake for, surround milieu. The sea, this is the thing that comes up. Anchor ships, coast, docking, firm, fixed, flow, harbouring. Voiced intention for painting. Auction, award, bidding, competition, contract. Give something in a disinterested manner. Because when she's talking about it, it's almost like, oh, I'd forgotten about that. She seemed very blasé and disinterested about it. Overly so. Alternative intention for painting. Accentuate boundaries, broadcast conspicuous contrast, fell, someone knock somebody down, highlight identity, indicate, leak out a report, play the dandy, obtain something, plunder, prominent, publish, retribution, rivet, rule, seize, sack, and stare. Artist as a person in her own right, just like you and me. Aspire, authority, basis, bespatter, death, desire, drawing, eagle-like, become, envy, harbouring, hate, lamentation, paint, plan, support oneself, tracing, torn, i.e. get torn. An artist as an accuser, announce, charge, compete, dissension, so dissension, foundations, hold something against someone, impress, incrimination, outlines, reproach, surpass, suspicion, and weigh down upon. In total, that's all I have for you today. That's my analysis with regards to the title of the painting produced by Petrina Ryan-Kleid, entitled Parsing Bill, in which Bill Clinton is portrayed in drag, slumped over a chair in the Oval Office. If you like the analysis, please do give me a like below. Remember to like, share and subscribe. As always, have a nice day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next analysis.